I'll tell you what, our soil looks incredible this year. Absolutely incredible. I think this is some of the nicest soil we've ever had in our garden, and I can really only attribute that to one thing, and that's constantly taking care of the soil and being a good steward of our garden, making sure that whatever's taken out of it nutrient-wise is given back to it and then some, so that we have kind of a surplus and a buildup of fertility in our garden. And our soil looks incredible. But before we get too far ahead of ourselves here in this episode, what is going on, everyone? Welcome to another very exciting episode right here on the MIgardener channel. In today's episode, we're going to be talking about planting garlic. Now, I know what you're probably thinking, Luke, shouldn't you have planted garlic about a month ago? And that would be correct. We should have planted garlic about 20 days ago. But with that being said, we had some life events that happened, and life happens. You don't always get to plant at the same time every single year. Sometimes it's raining, sometimes it's cold, sometimes you're sick, sometimes you have a kid. Life happens. And for that reason, you need to know what to do when life happens so you can still have a garden, because you can still grow garlic even if you're late. Now, ideally, I know you're probably already saying, well, Luke, you always say that you need to plant about a month before your first frost date so that the garlic gets established, has the best chance of success, and that is true. That is ideal. But we don't have ideal right now. We have close to ideal, and I want the best results possible. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna work with what we have. I don't have a time machine. I can't go back in time. If I did, I wouldn't change it for the world, because we've got a beautiful, healthy son, and I'm just happy as a lark to have him in the world. So even if I had a time machine, I'd still probably be right where I am today, and that is about a month behind schedule. And that's fine, because garlic is very cold hardy, and if you plant it using the right steps and the right tips that I'm going to give you guys, you're going to do fine. Now, with that being said, the first thing I want to talk about is the soil. The soil is critical to planting garlic on time or late, but it's even more important if you're planting your garlic late. And that's because you're planting your garlic at a time when there's more rainfall, typically. It's typically colder, and so it's typically wetter and colder. And garlic is very prone to things like rot and mold. We just take fresh compost from the compost pile and throw it on top, about one wheelbarrow full, and that gives us a really good base of fresh compost. It gives back to our soil, it feeds our soil, feeds the microbes, feeds the fungi, and really kind of gets that ecosystem going, which is another good thing to preventing against rot and mold, is having beneficial bacteria and beneficial fungi in your soil. So once we did that, we kind of just scratched it in. I worked just the first 2 inches of soil where I'm going to be planting these garlic cloves, and then I'm going to mulch on top of that when I'm done. But the soil is very important. The next thing that you want to do if you're planting garlic late is you want to go with, if possible, a hardneck variety. Now, we have a couple different hardnecks. We have a northern white that we're going with. We have a German extra hardy. We also have a chestnut red, and these are just a few of the hardneck varieties that you can pick from. But hardnecks, I think, primarily are going to be more, or the majority of hardnecks are going to be more cold hardy than your softnecks. And you're saying, well, I got my softnecks already, I just haven't planted them yet. Still plant them. You're going to be fine. You might lose a few more than if you would have planted hardnecks. But again, we can't work with ideal. We can only work with what we're given. So that being said, we got our garlic here. We're spacing it out 2.5 inches on center. And then we're going to take something that is very, very important that I am super excited to talk about, and something that I know you guys are really going to love and a lot of you will benefit from. And that is something that I've been working on for quite some time now. It's going to be a limited time thing. We're not going to carry this forever, and I'm not going to try to oversell it to you guys. It's just, if you need it and you want it, check it out. And that is Bulb Plus. This is Bulb Plus. What is it? It's a fertilizer and a protectant all in one. We designed it. We designed it with the specific intention of planting things like bulbs and tubers and giving the bulbs and tubers exactly what they need to not only feed them and get them established, but also protect them against things like rot and mold. So whether you're planting fall garlic or spring potatoes, onion sets in the spring, or even fall daffodils, spring dahlias, whether you're planting in the spring or the fall, typically late fall and early spring bring wet weather and cold weather, and that has a tendency to lead to rot and mold. So you need something to protect the bulbs. Bulb Plus will do just that. we actually use a sulfur powder, which is typically what you do to protect your bulbs, to actually increase the acidity and lower the pH. That helps reduce things like soil-borne funguses that are going to lead to rot. But it also has specifically blended fertilizers, which actually help to build the soil over time, feed the plants, and feed the soil around it. It not only feeds the beneficial bacteria and fungi with things like trace minerals from things like azomite and green sand, but it also is going to help to soften the soil with things like gypsum, which help to actually soften clay soil and break that up, help increase the drainage. But then it also has things like bone meal and rock phosphate to give a phosphorus source for things like root development, which is very important on your bulbs and your tubers, which is awesome. So it's really truly a all-in-one. It's not only fast acting, but also slow release, and it is specifically designed for bulbs and tubers. All right, so when it comes to Bulb Plus, this is a limited time thing. When it's sold out, it's probably gonna be sold out forever. The reason why is because it takes a lot of time to make this up, and we're already spending a lot of time mixing and bagging and blending and shipping Trifecta and VigaGrow and other things like that. So because we already have a lot of irons in the fire, this was really born out of necessity. This is not something that we're going to be carrying all the time because we just don't have the resources and manpower to add another thing to our product line. But the reason why I have it is because I was already blending up some stuff for our garden and for our needs. So I decided to go out, we sourced all the ingredients to make this blend, and we made it happen for anyone that might be in the same situation and have the same need that we have right now. So that's why we have it, and that's why it's going to be a limited time. Now, the other wild and crazy thing is because I want to get it into the hands of as many people as possible, I'm selling it at cost. So this cost me $7, bag, label, and everything inside of it. So have at it. If it's something that interests you, go check it out. We're not making a penny on it. The reason why is, again, I'm just kind of crazy, and not everything has to come down to profit. So go check it out. And with that being said, let's get back to planting our garlic. All right, so this is where you would take some granulated sulfur or pelletized sulfur or even sulfur powder, and you would dust these down if you weren't using Bulb Plus. But because we're using Bulb Plus, we're going to be using Bulb Plus. So this has the phosphorus and the sulfur, and we're going to put about a tablespoon or so around each. Now you just need to cover them up. So I don't have the mulch right now, but what we're going to be using is animal bedding. We have a lot of videos on how we use animal bedding, and it's one of my favorite mulches. It breaks down relatively quickly, it's super lightweight, it's very inexpensive, and it's weed free. There's no weed seeds in it. So it works as a great mulch. We're going to put it extra heavy. If you're not using animal bedding, use things like straw, broken down leaves, anything you can find to actually help to insulate the soil. You want to insulate the soil because of the fact that these bulbs are going to take quite a lot longer to actually get developed and start growing. And so you want to give them some good protection in case it does get cold and in case it even snows before they start sprouting. I'm going to put about 3 to 4 inches of a layer of mulch on top of this bed here. Typically it'd be about 2 to 3 inches. I'm going to put 3 to 4 just so there's that extra layer of protection on these bulbs. The more protection, the better. But you don't want to go too deep, because if you mulch too much, it'll just smother them out. So don't go too deep, but 3 to 4 inches is plenty fine for a good mulch layer to protect them. And once you get them mulched in, the final thing you have to do is just water them well. Water them well, and you're gonna be fine. Now, obviously you might lose a few here or there because they are planted fairly late, but by doing this, by having really good soil, mulching a little thicker, going with a hardneck variety, using something like Bulb Plus or some sulfur to really help fight off any mold or mildew or things like that that might come about, and really taking care of the soil and making sure that it's well draining and fertile and rich, you're going to be fine, and I think you'll do great. So with that being said, I hope you guys enjoyed. I hope you learned something new. If you did, make sure to throw a like up there. Check out the links in the description box down below. And as always, this is Luke from the MIgardener channel, reminding you to grow big or go home. I'll catch you guys later. See ya.